My girlfriend, her family just orchestrated the most devastating Christmas ever. It left me wondering if life is even worth it. 2.5 years after that, they ambushed me again. But let me just tell you how this all got started. My mother-in-law, she doesn't like me very much. In fact, she hates my guts. And the reason that she does is because I work in a warehouse. She's always said since day one, she doesn't think I deserve her daughter. She thinks her daughter is going to marry someone who's rich. But that's not me. All I can offer her is unconditional love. So that's how I ended up with my soon-to-be wife cheating on me. And it's all because of my soon-to-be mother-in-law who set this into action with lies after lies after lies. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I have every single bit of the story. Let's get into it. I'm 31 now, but this story starts when I was 25. I need to write this all out because even after everything that's happened, I still sometimes can't believe this is my life. This is going to be long. Like really long because, well, I'm going to cover everything. But I need to get every detail out of my head and onto a screen where maybe it'll make some sense. Well, Harper and I, we met in college in 2015. I was 25, she was 23. I'd started late because I'd been working since high school, saving up money, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. She was in her junior year, confident in a way I've never seen before, studying to work in healthcare. We had 2 classes together, some gen ed requirements, and kept ending up at the same table in the cafeteria. Not entirely by accident, I'd say. Well, she was everything I wasn't used to. Smart, quick-witted, beautiful in that effortless way where she would show up to 8 a.m. classes in sweats with her hair in a messy bun, and still look like she belonged in a movie. We were both nerdy. She would send me memes at nighttime about our terrible statistics professor, and I would respond with Star Wars references. We would text back and forth while supposedly studying. She would share these carefully curated playlists that somehow always match my mood exactly. We would walk around campus for hours after our evening class, complaining about assignments and talking about shows we were watching, games we were playing. The thing that really got me was how easily it all felt. I don't know, I'd had a couple relationships before, but they always felt like work. Like I was constantly trying to be someone I wasn't, but with Harper I could just exist. I could talk about my factory job without feeling less than. I could admit I didn't understand something in class without feeling stupid. I could be quiet without her needing to fill the silence. She asked me out. That's something I'll never forget. We were sitting outside the library in October, leaves falling around us like some cheesy romantic movie, and she just looked at me and said, "So, are you gonna ask me out or do I have to do everything in this relationship?" I nearly choked on my coffee. I wasn't that guy, the one girls like Harper dated. I worked nights at a factory, drove a beat-up Honda Civic 03. I lived in a cramped apartment with 2 roommates, but Harper didn't care about any of that. Our relationship was built on late-night walks when I got off my shift and she was still up studying. It was $5 movie tickets on a Tuesday afternoon when we both had time off. It was cooking terrible pasta in my apartment and laughing when we somehow burnt garlic bread, eating cereal for dinner instead. It was inside jokes that made us crack up in public while everyone else looked confused. It was her falling asleep on my shoulder while I played video games. Me bringing her coffee exactly how she liked it during her study session. We took things slow physically. We would send some flirty pictures back and forth, and our moments of heat, but both wanted to wait for, the love. It wasn't religious or anything like that. It just felt like something we wanted to save for when we were both fully ready, fully committed. Looking back now, the irony of that burns like acid in my throat. We talked about everything. Our future was mapped out in conversations over cheap Chinese takeout. We would move in together after she graduated, get a small apartment first, save up for a home. She wanted to work at the hospital downtown. I would keep my factory job. The benefits were good. The pay was steady. Kids someday, when we were more settled. A dog, definitely, maybe 2. Normal dreams, achievable dreams, our dreams. Her family lived in town about 20 minutes from campus. By 6 months in, I was at every family dinner, every birthday, every holiday. Her father, Bryce, was this quiet, steady presence. He worked in construction, understood the value of work with your hands, and he would clap me on the shoulder when I showed up, ask about work, genuinely listen when I talk about overtime or union negotiations. I could tell he appreciated that I had steady work, that I treated his daughter with respect, that I wasn't some flaky college guy who disappeared after graduation. Well, Harper's younger sister, Elise, was 17 when we met. She immediately latched onto me like the brother she never had. I helped her with pre-calc homework, fixed her laptop when it crashed right before a big paper was due, gave her advice about college applications, and she would text me panic messages about boy drama, and I would talk her through it like a protective older brother I've become. When she got into her dream school, I was the first person she called after her parents. But Vivian, Harper's mom, oh man, she was a different story. From day one, there was this coldness, this distance I could not bridge. She was polite enough, never outright rude, but there was always this chill in her voice when she talked to me. The way of looking through me instead of at me, I tried everything. I was unfailingly polite, always helped clean up after dinner without being asked, and brought thoughtful gifts for birthday and holidays. I fixed their garbage disposal when it broke during Thanksgiving. I even helped repaint their deck one hot summer weekend. Nothing ever thawed the ice. You know, Harper, she would just brush it off, like, oh, Mom's just protective. She's like that with everyone at first, she'll warm up. But years passed and she never did. If anything, it got worse. The looks got colder, the comments got sharper. These little digs disguised as concern. Oh, Rowan, still at the factory. Don't you want to do something more with your life? Harper is so ambitious, she needs someone who can match the energy. Through college and after, I worked my butt off at that factory. You know, the same one she made fun of me for. Long hours, double shifts where they were available, tired bones and aching muscles. But it was steady pay, it was good benefits, and I was building seniority. Harper graduated in 2017. Got a job at the hospital like she planned. Her shifts were long and irregular, sometimes days, sometimes nights, weekends, holidays, but we made it work. We would steal moments together between our schedules, quick lunches, late night phone calls from our respective break rooms, Sunday mornings when we were both actually free. By Christmas 2019, we've been together for years. Yeah, 4 to be exact. 4 years of building something real. I knew Harper was it for me, the one, my forever person, all these cheesy things you think you'll never say about someone until you meet them. I'd been saving for 6 months for a ring. You know, nothing fancy, I couldn't afford the kind of ring Vivian probably expected, but something real, something meaningful. A simple solitaire with a decent diamond set in white gold because Harper did not like yellow gold. It cost me 3 months of overtime, but it was worth it. I had it in my jacket pocket on a Christmas day. The plan was to do it after dinner, after we exchanged gifts with her family. Nothing elaborate. I wasn't a public proposal kind of guy, and neither was Harper. Just something simple and genuine with the people she loved around her. So, Harper texted me around 3 p.m. She was getting called in to cover a shift. Someone was sick. Emergency situations. You know how hospitals are on holidays. She would be late, but told me to go ahead to her parents' house. She'd meet me there as soon as she could. I remember being disappointed, but not surprised. Healthcare doesn't stop for holidays. I go to her parents' house around 5 p.m. The house smelled like everything Christmas should. Cinnamon, pine, something sweet baking in the oven, the real deal. Elise practically tackled me at the door, already hyped up on Christmas energy. Bryce shook my hand, offered me a beer. Asked about work. Even Vivian seemed slightly less frigid, though that might have been the wine. I brought gifts for everyone. A nice bottle of whiskey for Bryce that I knew he's been eyeing. Some expensive hand cream set for Vivian that the girl at the store swore mothers loved. And for Elise, a laptop. She was starting college next fall, you know, and her current one was held together with duct tape and a prayer. I'd saved up specifically for this, wanting to give her something that would actually help with her future. When Elise opened the laptop, she burst into tears. Not just a few tears, like full-on sobbing. She threw her arms around me saying, "I can't believe this," over and over. "This is too much, Rowan. This is expensive. I can't accept it." I said, "You're going to college. You need something reliable. Consider it an investment in your future." She was still crying, but then something shifted. The joy on her face morphed into something else, panic, guilt. She pulled back, looked at me with a wide, terrified eyes, and started saying, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The words tumbling out between sobs that were different now. These were not happy tears anymore. "Elise?" Bryce stood up, concern written all over his face. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" My stomach dropped. That feeling when you know something terrible is about to happen, but you just quite can't place your finger on it. Like standing on train tracks and feeling the vibration before you see the train. Elise grabs my hand. Her grip was almost painful. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep this secret. It's killing me." Bryce followed us and Vivian stayed in the living room. And I wish I'd paid more attention to her face in that moment. Wish I'd seen whatever was there. Guilt, fear, anger, but I was focused on Elise, on the way she was shaking as she opened the door. Her room was exactly what you would expect for a 17-year-old. Posters on the wall, clothing on the chair, textbooks scattered on the desk. She went straight to her dresser, opened up the top drawer, and pulled something out with a trembling hand. "It was a positive pregnancy test. She said it's Harper's." "It's Harper's?" The room tilted. I literally had to sit down on her bed because my legs would not hold me. The edge of her comforter was this soft purple thing, and I remember focusing on the texture of it under my hands while my brain tried to process what she just said. "How long?" My voice sounded strange, disconnected. "How long have you known?" "Well, since November. She made me promise not to tell you. She said she would handle it, that she would tell you when the time is right, but it's Christmas, and you're here with great gifts and that ring box shape in your pocket, and I just can't." "Ring shape?" I looked down. Sure enough, the outline was visible in my jacket pocket. So much for being subtle. "Elise," Bryce's voice was sharp. "What are you talking about? Is Harper pregnant?" She nodded. Then the words poured out like a dam breaking. "The affair started in early 2019, almost a year. While I was working overtime to save for our future, Harper was seeing someone else. Some guy from work, but not really from her work. Someone Vivian had introduced to her. Vivian had encouraged it, facilitated it, and told Harper she could not be with me. She can do better than me." "Mom knew?" Bryce's face went from confusion to rage to something beyond that, a kind of horrified disappointment that aged him 10 years in 10 seconds. "Your mother knew?" I stood up. My body was moving on autopilot, and the ring box felt like it was burning through my pocket. 4 years. 4 years of my life, of building something, of believing I found my person. While I was planning our future, she was what? Laughing about me with him? Comparing notes? Was she thinking about him when she sent me good morning text? When she said she loved me? I said I need to go. Bryce says, "Rowan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know any of it." I told him, "I know, man. I know. Bryce was a good man. It's not his fault. I'll understand if you never want to see us again," he said. And the pain in his voice almost broke through the numbness that was settling over me like armor. I turned to Elise, who was still crying. I said, "Thank you. For telling me. Even though you knew, you saved me something worse." Walking back through the living room, I locked eyes with Vivian. Oh, hell yeah, she knew. I could see it in her face. She knew exactly what had just happened, what had been revealed. She knows Harper was pregnant. She would know about the affair. She encouraged it even. And she still let me walk into her house on a Christmas day with a ring in my pocket like a fool. I said nothing to her. What was there to say? What words existed for that level of betrayal? The cold hit me when I stepped outside. Oh yeah, December in the Midwest. Snow starting to fall, and I wasn't wearing nearly enough layers, but I couldn't even feel it. Couldn't feel anything except this weird disconnect between my brain and my body. I swear, I could have been naked, and it wouldn't even have mattered. The drive home was dangerous. I shouldn't have been driving. I shouldn't have been allowed to. I pulled over twice, once to breathe, once to stop myself from screaming. The ring box sat on my passenger seat, mocking me almost. 4 years. Almost a year of lies? All those nights she said she was working late, all those weekend shifts that suddenly got called? How many times had she kissed me after kissing him? How many times had she texted I love you while she was with him? My family was having their own Christmas when I walked in. Ma, Dad, my siblings, my half-sister Nadia, who'd driven 2 states away to be there. They took one look at my face and knew something was catastrophically wrong. I told them everything. I didn't hold back, and I watched my face drop, as so did my mother's. My mom's face went from concern to fury. Watched my dad's hands clench into a fist. Nadia actually stood up like she was ready to drive to Harper's house right then and there and throw some hands. They rallied around me, held me while I finally broke down, and ugly cried in the childhood living room while White Christmas played softly on the TV. Around 11 p.m., my phone starts exploding. Harper. The calls came first, then the text and the voice messages, and I listened to exactly one. It said this: "Baby, please, I can explain. It's not what you think. Please just pick up. Please let me explain. I love you. I've always loved you. Please." I turned my phone off. The next day, I went full scorched earth. New phone number, deleted social media, new email addresses even. Some people said I was being extreme, that I should at least hear her out or get closure. I need it. But I knew myself better than others. One conversation with her, hearing her voice break and see her cry, I would crumble like a cookie. I might let her convince me it was somehow forgivable. I couldn't risk that. The months that followed were a special kind of hell. I went through the motions, work, eat, sleep, repeat. But everything was colored by her absence. I'd reached for my phone to send her something funny, then remember I see something in a store she would like. Then I would remember, and I would wake up and reach for her, and the side of her bed would be cold. My friend Kellen told me in mid-2020 that Harper's affair partner had bailed the moment he found out about the pregnancy. See, apparently, he was now dodging child support, had moved to another state, complete deadbeat. Harper was struggling, working and raising the baby alone. Vivian helping, but also making everything worse the way Vivian did. Not my circus, not my monkey, I told him, and I meant it. Anyways, that's all I have time to write right now, guys. I will update you. I don't know if it'll be now, next week, or next month, but I promise I'll give you an update. Guys, oh my gosh. The next update, you won't believe it. It took a lot of looking for to find this. 2.5 years later is when the first update came out, and guess what? OP disappeared, but she found him. 2.5 years later, here it is, update number 1. I thought I moved on. It's been 2.5 years since the Christmas, and I had some therapy. Tried dating a little, though it was a disaster. Thrown myself into work and hobbies, and I was not healed. Not exactly. But the wound wasn't bleeding anymore. Then I got a call from an unknown number. Almost didn't answer, never do. But I was expecting a call back about a job interview, so I picked up. Rowan? Harper's voice hit me like a physical blow. I actually had to sit down right there in my kitchen, my coffee mug shaking in my hand. I hadn't heard her voice since these voicemails I deleted without listening to. How did you get my number? Mutual friends, it took some doing. Please don't hang up. I should have hung up, but instead I listened. She wanted to meet. Our old favorite restaurant, this little Italian place we've gone for special occasions because we cannot afford it regularly. She needed to explain, to apologize properly, to see if maybe, possibly, there was any chance to fix things. It's been 2.5 years, Harper. Why now? Because I've had time to realize what I threw away. Because I'm in therapy and I understand now that what I did hurt you. I said, stop it. Just stop. You had a year-long affair. You got pregnant by another man. Your mother orchestrated the whole thing, and now, what? You want to grab breadsticks at Olive Garden? Her tone shifted when she realized I was not immediately folding. Suddenly, I was cold, unforgiving, running away from the problem instead of facing it like a man. Our problem? There is no our anymore, Harper. There hasn't been for years. She kept pushing, getting even more aggressive, more manipulative. Well then, because apparently the universe has a sick sense of humor, Vivian starts calling too. Vivian had the audacity to call me a coward, said I was less of a man for not meeting Harper face to face, that I owed Harper closure because of our history. You want to talk about owing people? I said with my voice eerily calm. You introduced her to the man she cheated with. You encouraged it, you facilitated it, you have the absolute gall to call me a coward. She tried to spin some story about misunderstandings, about how I ran away, instead of fighting for Harper about how a real man would have stayed and worked through it. I hung up, blocked both of them again, messaged every mutual friend I still have contact with and told them the real full story. Not whatever version Harper and Vivian were spreading. Well, after that, they stopped calling. Basically, that's the update. I don't really have much more to share now. Update number 2. Mother's Day ambush at the Red Lobster. 3 months after the phone calls, Mother's Day came rolling around. See, my mom wanted Red Lobster. She got this thing about their shrimp. Says nobody else makes it like this. Oh, and their biscuits? Forget about it. I invited Nadia along too since she was in town visiting. We were finishing lunch, Mom happy with her coconut shrimp basket, and Nadia and I arguing about who was paying. I won. When we headed toward the exit, and there in the foyer, like the universe idea of a joke, was Elise and Vivian. My heart did this painful stutter stop thing. Elise's eyes went wide with recognition. Then she smiled, hesitant, hopeful. I immediately scanned the area for Harper, my body tensing like I was preparing for an attack. The relief when I didn't see her was overwhelming, but the adrenaline was already flooding my system. Vivian looked at me with pure disgust, like I was something she needed to scrape off her shoe. Then her eyes landed on Nadia, and I watched the recognition dawn. She stared at my sister with this mixture of confusion and suspicion, like she was trying to place where she had seen her before. The moment stretched taut. Everyone froze in this horrible position. My mom, God bless her soul, was already bristling. She knew the whole story, had held me through the worst of it, and Nadia looked ready to throw hands right there between the hostess stand and the lobster tank. Can we please talk? Just us, please, Rowan. Nadia stepped forward. She said, he doesn't have to talk to anyone, especially not with you, you snake. Nadia says, I said quietly, and she looked at me. She saw something in my face and nodded. Fine, but I'm staying close, and you, she pointed at Vivian, stay the hell away from him. Elise and I stepped outside. The May air was warm, families were everywhere for Mother's Day, and here we were having this surreal reunion in a Red Lobster parking lot. I've missed you, Elise said immediately. Christmas has not been the same, nothing has. Dad misses you too. He doesn't say it, but I know he does. How's school? I asked, deflecting. Her face crumbled. Harper smashed the laptop, and about a week after you left, she was having one of her episodes. Said it reminded her of you, and that night just destroyed it completely. The anger that flared surprised me. Not about the laptop that could be replaced, but that Harper had taken her rage at losing me out on Elise's chance at a better future. Elise, why does your mother hate me so much? The real reason? She looked at the ground. She saw you with another woman once. Actually, the woman who was just with you. She was convinced you were cheating, so she pushed Harper toward Marcus. That was his name, the other guy. Said Harper deserved better than someone who was stepping out on her. I actually laughed, like full genuine laughter that made Elise look at me like I lost it. That's my sister, I said. Nadia, my half-sister? Your mother orchestrated the destruction of a 4-year relationship because she saw me having lunch with my sister? The look on Elise's face would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. The laptop, I said, suddenly remembering. The warranty is good through November 2022. Bring it to the store, even smash, they'll replace it. She lit up like a Christmas morning, throwing her arms around me in a quick, fierce hug before running back inside. Well, the next day, I met Elise at a BrandsMart to help with the warranty claim. What I did not expect was Bryce. Seeing him was like a punch to the chest. He looked older, grayer, worn down in a way that made me realize I wasn't the only casualty of Harper's choices. We hugged, awkward but genuine, and I could feel him holding on a second longer than necessary. I'm sorry. For everything, for what she did, for what my wife did, for not seeing it. It wasn't your fault, I told him, and meant it. We got Elise set up with an even better laptop, the warranty covered an upgrade since her model was discontinued, and she was practically vibrating with excitement. Bryce insisted on buying me lunch as a thank you. I should have known something was up when he suggested dinner instead, at this new place he's been wanting to try. I should have noticed how nervous Elise seemed, how she kept checking her phone. But I was enjoying talking to them, see? Bryce telling me about work, about how businesses had been. Elise talking about college applications, her plans for the future. It felt like having a piece of something I'd lost. Not Harper, but this family I'd grown to love. We were finishing dinner, and Bryce had insisted on paying despite my protest, when Elise started apologizing again. I hope you're not upset how we set this up. And that's when I saw her. Harper, walking toward our table with purpose. She looked exhausted, worn down, like life had taken a belt sander to her. Her hair was longer but lifeless, and her clothes hanged on a frame that had lost weight, but not in a healthy way. She looked like someone who had been surviving, not living. She tried to hug me immediately, and I stepped back, hands up like I was blocking an attack. What the hell is this? Please just hear me out. I looked at Bryce and Elise looked guilty but hopeful, and Bryce looked resigned, like he knows this was a bad idea but could not say no to his daughter. 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes. So, Harper launched into this speech that she clearly rehearsed. Mistakes were made, she was confused, influenced by her mother, stressed from work, she was young, she didn't know what she had, she was scared of how serious things were getting. The other guys meant nothing. It was just an escape from the pressure of our relationship getting so real. Stop, I said when she paused for breath. Just stop. You cheated on me for almost a year, nearly 12 months of lying to my face every single day while I was working overtime to save our future. You were with him. That's not a mistake, Harper. That's hundreds of conscious choices to betray me. Mom said you were cheating. And you never asked me, your man? Never confronted me, never even tried to find out if it was true. You just used it as an excuse to do what you wanted to do anyways. She brought up her son then. 1-year-old needed a father figure growing up without a dad. The manipulation was so transparent it was almost insulting. Good luck with that, I said. How can you be so cruel? We had plans, you were going to propose, we were going to have a family. I wanted those things with the person I thought you were. That person does not exist, maybe she never did. That's when she played her last card. Mom told me you were cheating with another woman. She saw you together multiple times, blonde, petite, young. She saw how you looked at each other. I actually laughed. Elise, you want to tell her who that woman is? Elise's voice was small but clear. Your half-sister Harper, Nadia, Rowan's sister. The realization that hit Harper's face was something to behold. The understanding that she destroyed everything over a lie that could have been cleared up with a single question. That her mother had destroyed her life over a misunderstanding that she never even bothered to clarify. Harper completely broke down, sobbing about hating Vivian, hating herself, and begging for another chance. We could fix this, start over, be a family. She would do anything. Therapy, couples counseling, whatever I wanted. For a moment, just a brief moment, I felt that old instinct to comfort her, to hold her while she cried, but it was buried under too much scar tissue, too much growth, too much self-respect that I built from the rubble that she left behind. I wish you the best, I said. All of you, but I'm done. I'm not your second chance, Harper. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your son's replacement father. I'm just done. I hugged Elise and told her to stay in touch and shook Bryce's hand and thanked him for the dinner. And then I just walked out. Harper followed me into the parking lot, still begging and still crying. Well, when I got into my car, she actually tried to block the door. Please, I know I don't deserve it. I know I destroyed everything, but can't you find forgiveness in your heart? Any love left? I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time since she walked into the restaurant. This woman I loved with everything I had, who I planned to marry, to have children with, to grow old with, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not love, not even pity, just a kind of distant sadness for the people we used to be. I said, I forgive you. Not for you, but for me, because holding on to this anger is hurting me. But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean I want you in my life. It just means I'm letting go. And she said, but? I said, Harper, you need to understand something. You didn't just cheat. You let me plan our future while you were destroying it, and you let me work overtime to save for a ring while you were with him. You let me love you completely while you're, were giving yourself to someone else. And then you tried to baby trap me with another man's child. That's not something you can come back from. She was still standing there crying when I drove away, and, well, it's over. That's that. I'm done with her. Final update 1 month later. It's not over yet. Wow. It's been a month since the restaurant ambush. I'm in therapy now. Should have started years ago. But better late than never. Working through betrayal, trauma, the trust issues, the way I shut down instead of processing emotions. My therapist says I handled the situation remarkably well, all things considered. My family is proud of me, and Mom says that she was ready to storm that restaurant if I've taken Harper back. Dad, in this quiet way, just said, you did good, son. You chose yourself. Nadia still offers to handle Vivian if I ever need her to, which makes me laugh. I think a lot about what Dad said after I told him everything. Vivian wanted you gone and used the dumbest excuses to do it. She got what she wanted, but look what it cost Harper. You know, he's right. Vivian won in a twisted way. She got me out of Harper's life, but Harper lost someone who loved her. Completely, unconditionally, someone who was literally carrying an engagement ring in his pocket. Someone who would have moved mountains for her? All because her mother saw me with my sister and created an entire narrative around it instead of asking me simple questions. You want to know the saddest part? I would have forgiven almost any of it. Anything else. See, if Harper had come to me, said she was unhappy, that she needed something different, it would have destroyed me, yeah, but I would have respected it, and if she made it a one-time mistake, immediately confessed and shown genuine remorse, we could have worked through it. But a year-long affair? While I was planning our wedding? While letting her mother pull the strings, that's not a mistake. That's a cold-hearted choice, because someone I could never trust again was her. So, I keep thinking about the Christmas nights, how different everything could have been if Elise had not told me. I would have proposed, Harper would have said yes, and I know that she would have. Even the pregnancy with another man's child? We would have gotten married, and then what? Would she have tried to pass the baby off as mine? Would she have immediately told me eventually? I don't know. Would I have found out years later and lost even more of, my life to her lies? You know what? Elise, she saved me. A 17-year-old girl had more courage and integrity than the adults in the situation. We do text occasionally now. She's doing well in school. The laptop is holding up great, and she says Harper is surviving, working, raising her son, dealing with Vivian's constant interference and criticism. Apparently, Vivian blames Harper for losing a good man, the irony of which is not lost on anyone. Bryce reached out once to apologize again. Said if he would know that Vivian was doing this, he would have stopped it, divorced her, something. I believe him. He's a good man trapped in a marriage with someone who destroyed their daughter's life over a misunderstanding she never bothered to clarify. I don't envy him. As for me, I'm 31 now. Starting over feels daunting. Sometimes, dating, it feels impossible. How do you trust someone after something like this? But my therapist reminds me that Harper was not representative of all women, that Vivian's manipulation was not normal mother behavior, that what happened to me was extraordinary in cruelty. I'm taking it one day at a time, working on myself, going to the gym, picking up on old hobbies I abandoned, and spending time with friends I've neglected while pouring everything into a relationship that was built on lies. I'm not ready to date yet, but someday I will be. And when I do, it'll be worth all the wisdom and the pain that I've learnt. It's taught me a lot. Oh yeah, the ring. I sold it 2 years ago, used the money to make a solo trip to Iceland. Something I'd always wanted to do but never could because Harper didn't like the cold. Standing on the black sand beach, watching the northern lights dance across the sky, I finally felt free. That's the thing about betrayal, this complete It either destroys you or rebuilds you into something stronger. I chose to rebuild. I chose to learn from it rather than let it define me, and I chose to see it as a gift in the most twisted way possible, because now I know my worth. I know what I deserve, I know what red flags are, and I know what to watch for. And I know that I can survive the worst heartbreak imaginable and come out on the other side intact. To anybody going through something similar, it gets better. Not quickly, not easily, but it does. The pain fades from a constant scream to an occasional whisper. You learn to trust yourself again before you learn to trust others, and you realize that someone else's inability to value you doesn't diminish your worth, it reveals their character.